Welcome to the Investor Financing Podcast, where we interview real estate investors and lenders so you can learn all the secrets to getting your projects funded and scale your portfolio. Learn about fix and flip loans, BRRRR financing, rental, fix to rent, commercial, multifamily bridge loans, business loans, and so much more. And now, your host, Beau Eckstein.
All right. The key thing is, how are you doing, Beau, buddy?
I'm doing well, just excited every Friday morning.
Go Abundance shirt today. Go Abundance.
Oh, yeah. Right.
All right. Our brethren there, with Mario and everybody. So, yeah. There we go. No, tell me more. Yes.
So anyways, it's good. I got John's loan done, so that was good.
Oh my gosh, they are so happy. Yeah, John Reason, my VP of the Academy, he sent me this morning. He says, Vinny, you made it happen. I said, I didn't make it happen. Beau made it happen. And look at that. He's got 20 units. He's looking at another 22 units, I mean, the man is on fire. I'm so proud of John. So it's going to be really good. And, a lot of students in my coaching now, Beau, are making deals. I mean, they are doing syndications, they are underwriting, and they're buying, and I'm so proud of them. And they're getting investors, doctors. I mean, the one team just joined. He's got 27 investors with $5 million. Hold on, $5 million already. And they have made concerted effort to, of course, meet with the people and all that. Anyway, well, we're going to have a lot of fun. Eric Lawson is a 16-year mortgage vet right here in the Bay Area in Walnut Creek. He's from the Bay Area, guys, right here, San Francisco Bay Area. Grew up in Walnut Creek. I live in Danville, Blackhawk, so Walnut Creek is next door to us, just 15 minutes away. And he's got a degree in economics from UC Davis, and his hobbies include traveling, outdoor activities, combat sports, all right, and extreme sports. We're going to find that out. And he's a huge fan of Taco Bell sauces. I know that because he shipped me some too. And when we met also, he brought some. I know my wife, remembers all that. He's a passive syndicated investor into. Thank you so much, Eric. I would love to say with me right here and other people invested in Vinny's deals. There we go. And he used to be in Beau's jet ski coach also. Hold on. And seriously, welcome, Eric. How are you, brother? How you doing?
Great, Vinny and Beau. Excited to be on your guys' show. Obviously, I'm a longtime fan, and I watch all your guys' content. I find a lot of value in it. And so excited to be here and, share some of my recent success stories.
Oh, I love it. We're going to kind of dig deeper into it and tell us a little bit about you, your humble beginnings or how you got started and what kind of student you were and how you got into real estate and loans. Tell us a little bit. Yeah.
So to sum it up, I'm from the Bay Area. I went to UC Davis, and in college, I had no idea what I wanted to do, but I liked the idea of working with money. So I decided to go with an economics degree because I knew that I could get a wide variety of jobs after that. But at the time, I still had no idea what I wanted to do. Graduated college. I liked the idea of sales because I didn't want to be told how much income I could make. I wanted the ability to sort of dictate my own income. And then, going down that route after college, that was in 2004. I didn't know much about real estate, but I knew that, the real estate market was on fire. And so being a mortgage lender made sense to me because I could use my degree in economics since it's related to finance, but it's also 100% commission sales type job where, I can determine my own success and how much money I wanted to make. My friends and family, everybody said I was crazy to go do a 100% commission job. There's no security, blah, blah, blah. But with risk comes reward, and I was confident I would do well. And that was 16 years ago, and it's been a great career. Looking back, I'd do it all over again. So that's kind of how I got to where I am today.
Awesome. Awesome. Now, do you give loans in residential, commercial? What kind of loans? Yeah.
So I specialize in everything residential. So unfortunately, no commercial, but you guys have, Beau down here for that.
Yes. Yes. My buddy right here.
Yeah, he's the man. He's the man.
If you followed me, remember, Beau is my buddy who got me $8.7 million. $8.7 million loan, closed it in 15 days, Eric. I don't know if you know that. 15 days, buddy, from start to finish. So, thank you. Yeah. No, go ahead. So residential. Yeah.
Yeah, so residential, and then obviously through that, and Beau is one of my close buddies. So kind of through his network and my network, we're always surrounded by a lot of real estate investors. So one of my niches is I have a lot of real estate investor clients, that have large portfolios. Just recently, one of our clients had a portfolio of 50 single-family residences, and Chase and all the other banks weren't able to get them approved, but we were able to do it because we're familiar with those profiles. And so, kind of through that network, I've started to dabble in the real estate investing side myself. I'm also a student of your academy, Vinney. From multifamily. That's been great and very educational. And hopefully in the next 6 to 12 months here, I'll be picking up a multifamily property of my own. However, in the meantime, I came across some AirBnB formulas that made it very clear and very easy for me to just jump in and pick up some cash flow real estate, right now, which is what I recently did out in Arizona. And it's been very good, and look forward to sharing the details with you guys and our viewers today.
Sure.
Yeah. So it was kind of funny because Eric and I, we're constantly texting throughout, pretty much at least a couple times a week. And he always knows
their girlfriend.
Yeah. He's always asking questions, and I'm like, no, LLC this, and so he knew I had a course on, and I kind of trained myself on Airbnb stuff. And anyway, so I gave him access to the course so he could go through. And he got really proficient at it and figured out how to do it. And then I was like, I knew some resources like AirDNA and all this stuff. So it was amazing because Eric basically took this information and in a month's time, he basically decided to buy something because he likes Scottsdale because it allows him to go whenever he wants and then have a place to go and hang, because downtown Scottsdale is party central. So it's good. It's a good way to go. Like if he wants to go spend a weekend there or a week there, he has a place now. But the big thing is that he's managing it remotely, and it's got potential to be a cash cow. So I want to kind of dive into the location of the property. How'd you find it? Did you buy it fully furnished? What are your projections, and what tools are you using on this to analyze it and kind of give us a quick overview of what you think your net income is going to be every month, and then how'd you finance it and so forth.
Got it. Okay, so I guess we'll start with how I found the property and where I chose to buy. So I've always liked Scottsdale personally. I have some friends that live out there. It's very active and outdoorsy, which is my style. I've stayed in Airbnbs in Scottsdale, and every time I was there, I would look at how much we paid for the property, and I can quickly assess what the mortgage or the cost of that house would be being a lender, and I would just think to myself, man, whoever owns this house is killing it. We just paid, $500 a night for 3 nights. They just made $1,500. This house is probably worth $400,000. Their mortgage payment is probably $2,000. So I mean, just do the math, right? Even if it was at 50% occupancy, like that person was killing it. Anyways, but that was just kind of things I just noticed. And then when Beau gave me access to a course called the B&B Formula, and I listened to it, it made a lot of sense, and it's very simple and it's very clear, and it's also very actionable. So it's something that I could do right now since I'm already familiar with just basic real estate. So at that point, I contacted a realtor that I knew out in Scottsdale, told him what I wanted to do. He started sending me listings, and then I found some services to where I could analyze the projected numbers of what I could expect for a night occupancy rate on the property, and then also what the occupancy rate would be. So for this property specifically that I bought, real quick, I was able to determine that the average night rent would be $280, and the average occupancy for that area for 4-bedroom properties would be 64%. So if I just run those numbers real quick, that's like $5,000 a month. I know my mortgage is going to be around like $2,300 a month. So boom, no brainer. And that's just kind of like the rough numbers to get started, right? That was enough for me to go out there and start writing offers on properties, because I know I mean, worst case scenario, I'm not even going to break even. It's going to pay me, right? It's going to pay me to have a second vacation house. How awesome is that, right? God bless technology, you know?
Yes.
To do something like this 10 or 15 years ago would be, you know, I don't even know if you could do it, but anyways. So a property propped up. It was fully furnished. It had a pool. It was just looking at it, I'm like, this is where I would go, because I like to travel. So for me, it's like, if I like a property myself personally, like I know it's going to do well. So submitted an offer on it. We had to get pretty aggressive because Scottsdale is on fire right now. The Phoenix area has appreciated 10.1% over the last 12 months.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
That's a stat from about a week ago. So that's legit. So anyways, I had to come in aggressive for my offer, but it worked out. I got the property. And some good news was that the listing agent and the seller, neither of them thought the property would appraise for what the listing price was, but then it did. So that was great. I didn't have to come in with as much cash as I thought. And here's the cool part is once I got it in contract, I listed it on Airbnb. So I didn't even own the property yet. And as soon as I listed on Airbnb, I started getting bookings. So before I even owned the property, I had like $3,000 of Airbnb bookings coming into me, and I didn't even own the property yet. So closed on the property, went out to Arizona for about a week. I didn't have to, but I liked the place and just got it set up. And then, I mean, I've owned the property now for 2 weeks, and it's already booked out for the next 2 months for about $8,500 of income. And I set my loan up so I won't even have a house payment for the first 2 months. So I don't have, my first house payment isn't until January. I'll have already collected $8,500 in rent by then.
I love it. I love it. I love it. You know, let's see. Shout out to Derek. Hey, Derek. Thank you, bud.
Hey, Derek. Good to see you, buddy.
Nice job. Yeah, go to show you that Airbnbs in the right area can still do very well in the age of COVID also, definitely. Because you can sanitize, you can do all that, right? You know,
oh, yeah.
Services and so forth. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, go ahead.
And to mention what you're talking about, Vinney, with COVID, like what I see, like with like my sphere of influence, and like my friends and like people that like to travel, because of lockdown, there's nothing to do locally. Like I'm right here in Walnut Creek, which is a pretty popular place, and it's boring. There's nothing to do. So like me and all my friends, like we want to travel. Like we want to go to places like Scottsdale or like Tahoe or San Diego. So like from what I see personally is that there's more of a demand for people that want to travel and go places and get out of town. So you know, I think COVID, you know, you could argue might even be supportive for Airbnb type rentals like this that are at, you know, travel destinations. And also,
totally. You know, Eric, sorry to say, I mean, look at that. Vaccine might be coming and everything. And we've been cooked up for 12 months or 14 months in the homes. People are going to travel like crazy. They're going to drive. They're going to go every which way. I'm telling you, 2021 is going to open up the channels as this vaccine gets under control and our numbers start decreasing, you know. So that's it. No, I really believe in that. And also look at over here in San Francisco. I know some people who have really rented $700 a night, $800 a night, you know, those kind of things. Yeah, no, thank you. So tell us more, like, you know, how did you find this great deal? And, you know, I mean, how can somebody do something like you're doing?
Yeah, so if I was going to give someone advice, if someone wanted to pick this up, the first thing I would do is buy the course, AirBnB Formula. It's very easy. It's not complicated. I mean, this is something you can just listen to while you're, you know, driving, working out, whatever. Like, you don't need to study it. You just need to listen to someone like walk you through just all the things you need to be aware of to set up a remote Airbnb property that you can basically automate.
Yeah.
So do that. And then number two, you're going to use the services, the AirDNA, first of all, because that's going to tell you what the occupancy rate will be in an area. It's also going to tell you what the average nightly rent will be. Okay, but that's just a rough draft to see, you know, what your numbers are going to be for a property. That's enough information to go ahead and you know, make an offer on a property. Then once you actually have the property, you can create a listing on Airbnb, and then you plug that into a service called AirDNA. And what this does, it's similar to like airline algorithm software that determines pricing on a daily basis based on what day of the week it is, based on, you know, events that are going on. So AirDNA, what it does, say for Scottsdale specifically, everybody knows that Scottsdale is famous for spring training when the baseball teams are out there. So during the month of March, the nights on my house will go as low as $200 when it's not busy, but in March it gets up to $700 a night. And so the AirDNA service, I just plug it into my Airbnb listing and it automatically prices out every single night based on the day of the week, based on local events for the entire 12 months. So right now I can see what the revenue is on my property for the next 12 months. And it's awesome. I mean, when I see my house being listed at $700 a night, right? And I love it.
So what Eric, like, I know you only have a little bit of operating history on it, but can you talk about, what your forecast is yearly net? I mean, after you pay your mortgage, after you pay everything, what do you think you're going to net from this one house?
Yeah. So on this one house, I'm going to net probably around, on the low side, $40,000. On the high side, like $65,000, $70,000. And that's positive cash flow.
Yeah.
So it's
when can I buy? Can you get me one, man?
we can go 50-50 on the next one, Vinny.
Let's do it. I'm for it, really.
Hey, Vinny, then you have a reason to go out to sunny Scottsdale and hang out, do outdoor activities.
It's beautiful, totally. The sun is coming.
I want to do one here in Henderson, because Las Vegas you can't do Airbnbs, but in Henderson you can. So I'm kind of gonna. So let's go back.
I will be investors with you both. All right, let's do it.
Let's go back and, like, how do you run the business? Like, how do you get somebody to turn over the unit, like change, clean the sheets, clean the property? Do you have remote access? Give us some tips on all this kind of operational stuff that makes that you don't have to spend a lot of time doing.
Yeah. So essentially, obviously, any investment like this you want to set it up to run without you, right? Otherwise, it's probably not a good investment. You need to be hands off so you can focus on making more money in other avenues. So how you do it is this. So basically, you have three partners. You have your cleaning service, which is your most important business partner, so to speak, because they're there, every other day or every time, the property needs to be changed. They're going to do more than just clean the property. They're going to do the laundry. They're going to leave mints out on the pillows. If there's floaty devices in the pool, they're going to pull those out. They're going to take the trash out to the street. So you're going to pay a little bit more for the cleaning service, but essentially they will do almost anything for you. And a lot of these services are already doing hundreds of Airbnb properties. So they have this all dialed in. For example, if a client leaves, their earrings and there's lost and found, when the maids go in there, they're going to take a picture of those earrings. They'll send it to me, or they'll send it to my virtual assistant. They'll text it to the clients, and then the cleaning service will actually mail those back to the clients and maybe charge them like $10. So I'm completely out. I don't have to do any of that. So number one is the cleaning service. Pretty easy. Number two is you get a local handyman. You just post an ad on Craigslist, and for $30, I have somebody for $30 that'll go out there anytime. Let's just say like a toilet breaks, right? Instead of me calling the plumber, who just to go out there would be $150, $200 a pop. This guy will go out there and in an hour and $10 a parts, he'll fix it. So it's going to cost me $40 all right. And I don't even communicate with him. I connect him to the cleaning service. And so the maids, when they go to the property, if like a door handle is broke, they text my guy, Daniel. Daniel shows up, he fixes it, and then he just sends me the bill. The other cool part is I have a Wi-Fi door code. So I can see when the maids check in and when they check out. So I know that they're doing their cleanings on time. So there's no overlap with the clients. Very important. And that's the other thing too. And with the handyman, if he sends me a bill for 3 hours, but I saw that he checked in my property for 1 hour, right? I can call him out. And they know this, so it kind of keeps everybody honest. Lastly, I haven't done this yet, but I will, because I want to learn the ins and outs myself. And it's pretty simple. It's going just like I thought it would, but it's good to just message with the guests and things like that. But what I'll do in about another 2 or 3 weeks is I'll hire a virtual assistant. And I've already interviewed a couple people, and you can get great people in the Philippines or wherever for anywhere from like $6 to $10 an hour. And they already have a ton of experience hosting Airbnb properties. So they know way more than I do. But essentially this is the end result. I have the virtual assistant, who is me. They're plugged into my Airbnb account, so they communicate as me. So they do all the messaging with the guests, which is very easy because you pretty much have all of your communications are in a saved template. So for any question or any response that the client has, it's right there in the Airbnb app. You just copy, paste, right? So it's really easy to communicate with the clients. So the virtual assistant is me, and he communicates with the clients, and then he communicates with the cleaners, and he also communicates with the repairman. They all communicate. I'm out. I only get involved.
I love it. Wow. And then the rents are all paid daily through your checking account, I'm sure, through Stripe or something. Is that right?
Yeah. So it's cool. So Airbnb, they pay you instantly. So as soon as somebody like checks out of my listing, and the charge goes through, it goes to Airbnb, and then Airbnb sends it directly to my bank account. So there's no wait on the funds.
I see. How much do we have to pay? I know a lot of people are, hey guys, if you're liking this show, and we do this every Friday at 9:30, please go ahead and like, give comments, share, and put notifications on so that you could really listen to really exciting guests that Beau and I bring to you. And please give us feedback. Who would you like us to also bring on the show? It's a weekly show. We go into 7-8 channels. Then it also becomes a podcast for Beau's channel and also podcast for my channel. I mean, so we are spreading this great knowledge, information, educational things for our communities, all over, in multifamily, in hotels, in Airbnb, you can see now, in residential loans, in commercial loans. I mean, you name it. We got the whole gamut right here. Thank you. Little commercial there, Beau.
I loved it.
I have a suggestion for you guys.
Yes, go ahead.
Your next candidate should be John Rosen, since he just closed on his first multifamily deal after going through the Vinney Academy. I think people would like to hear his success story.
Oh my gosh. Hey, we can reach out. Yeah, maybe John Rosen can, you said John Rosen? Or
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beau just wanted his deal, right?
John, you're on it, buddy, next week. So John is listening to it. I'm sure he'll be then my guest, tomorrow, next week, because we do like that. Okay, go ahead, Beau. Yeah.
You know what I love about this? Okay, Eric's been studying multifamilies. He knows a lot about real estate. He felt comfortable with this deal because he could actually go and utilize it. And he also knows residential financing. So when I was originally looking at the deal, I was like, God, Eric, you're kind of paying a lot of money for this house. But he was like, Beau, he's like, listen, money has never been this cheap. Like, it doesn't matter if the price goes down $50,000 because I'm not selling it. And then he changed my mindset on that. And then I'm like, yeah, I mean, where else can you get such cheap money, right? At the end of the day, even if you were going to lease it traditionally, it's still break even. And if you execute your plan, and let's say he nets $60,000, right? He gets one more of those. He's making $100,000 a year net, right?
Passively with all these automations and everything, I love it.
And I think a lot of people out there that are listening that are maybe W-2 employees or they still got a job and like they're trying to get themselves out. You got to diversify. You got to look at maybe doing something like this. Maybe invest, take some of your money and put it into as an LP investor in a syndication. Yeah. This way you can start growing more passive returns, and then eventually you just say bye-bye to your job, right? And like, I think the majority of people out there, that's their goal, right? It's to say, hey, I have so much money coming in, I don't need to clock in anymore, right? That's the goal. So that's what our show is about. It's like, hey, or if you have a ton of money, I know people with a ton of money, but they don't do anything with it, right? They put it in a mutual fund or whatever, they're getting 5 or 6%. Well, what if you could get 15% or 18%, right? So I think that's what we're trying to bring on, that there's all these different concepts, right? And if you can execute a plan, whether it's an Airbnb or it's a flip or whatever it is, right? You can make one Airbnb could change your life, right? That $60,000 is like what teachers typically make, right? An entry-level teacher makes $50,000-$60,000 a year. He just and the other thing to note is how much money did he actually have to come out of pocket? Maybe 20%, maybe it was $80,000 or whatever, right? So he puts out $80,000. What's his cash on cash return going to be if he makes $60,000 the first year?
Oh my God!
Good return.
Over 50%.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
Hey,
wow.
Plus, I get the property appreciation. I get the appreciation on my taxes, and then any losses on this property I can offset my mortgage income with. So it's just
for sure. Win situation. Definitely.
Yeah, and Beau, you made a good point earlier about we were talking about what I was going to pay for the property, and I said I really don't care what I pay for the property because I'm just putting my money in the house. It's just going to sit there, right? It can sit in my bank account, but now it's going to sit in that property. And whatever I paid for the house, if it's not worth that right now, it'll be worth that a year from now. And I'm not flipping the property for appreciation. All I care is the cash flow, right? I'm buying the cash flow. I'm buying an ATM machine, And eventually the house will go up in value and I'll pull my money back out. So whether I paid 500 or 520 or 540, that didn't matter because again, I'm not trying to flip it for a profit or buy or sell low. It's just going to sit there for the long term. So I'll get that money back eventually. But the cash flow that's on the table right now, that is real. And that's what I needed to grab. And it's worked out great like that. And
question. Eric, go ahead.
One last thing. So the property was listed for 500.
Okay.
I had to pay 520 and be super aggressive. Like no appraisal, no contingencies. Anyways, I got super aggressive to get it. So there's a little bit of, anytime you're negotiating, you kind of get emotionally involved in the price.
Yes.
Well, anyway, the house next door, which is exactly the same as my house, but it's not as nice. 2 weeks later, just got in contract for $545.
Oh,
so
wow.
That's $25,000 higher than my house. So I'm already up $25,000 in equities as well. So hell no, I didn't overpay at 520, right? There's a lot of demand in that area. I made the right call of being aggressive because I wanted the cash flow on this property. So I was willing to outbid the other buyers, but now it just goes to show how much demand's in the area. So I've got the appreciation gain as well.
I love it. Eric, let me ask you a question. Is it like there's feedback or somewhere? Anyway, no, I was going to say, Eric, so for example, two things come to my mind, right? You said it was furnished already because for Airbnb, you have to furnish it. So this 525 includes the furniture also or no?
It did. So 520 included the furnishings, which we estimated to be worth about $10,000.
Okay.
Some people might go, oh, why don't you go out and buy it yourself? You can probably do it cheaper. Well, like my time just to go out there and pick up furniture and build it, or even if I had to outsource somebody to do it, I still have to manage that. Totally. If I was here just closing loans the entire time, I'd make way more money. So it made sense to buy all the furnishings.
Totally.
And of course, that's something that can be outsourced. But for me, it made sense, which made this deal turnkey, which is also why I was willing to go, really aggressive to get.
Would you mind sharing the terms of the loan? It's a rental property, right, for you, or
it's a rental property. So I had to put down 20% on 520, which is roughly, I think, $110,000. Mm-hmm. I got a seller credit of $7,000. That pretty much paid for all the closing costs. Yeah. And then, of course, I did my own loan, so there's no commission on it. So my rate's going to be lower than what most people can get. So I've got a rate of 3.3%, which is pretty ridiculous for a rental property.
For a rental property, 30-year fixed or 25 or floating? How is it? Loan?
Yeah, it's a 30-year fixed. Those have the most competitive rates right now. So looking at any other type of term wouldn't really make sense as far as residential goes.
Yes.
And, so my cost for, Airbnb's commission, the pool guy, having Wi-Fi, the internet, all the little things, my all-in payment is about $2,800 a month for everything, right? And then it's paying at a minimum $4,000 to $5,000 a month. And then during the busy months like February, March, spring training, things like that, it gets up to over $10,000 a month.
Hold on. So what you just said was like 60,000 net, maybe, right? Give or take, or the full year, right? So 60,000 divided by 120, you just paid. You got 50% returns of the capital. That's cash on cash of 50%. In 2 years, it'll be all wiped out. It's all gravy after that.
Vinny, as soon as I ran the upfront numbers on this, before I'd even made an offer, I kind of just started laughing. Like this is just too good to be true. This is too easy. And then just going through the process, getting the house, and then listing it on Airbnb, and then once people actually start booking the property, which makes it real, before I even owned it, like it's been that good and even better. And I was confident it would be because I've been traveling and going to Airbnbs for a long time, and I would spend all these money at these places, and someone's getting that. So I don't want to misuse the term. It sounds too good to be true, because that might not give other people motivation to do this. It's not. It's real. It's there. I'm doing it now, and it's surprisingly easy. So I would recommend, if anybody's interested in this, step one would be go to the BNBFormula.com. Start there. Just listening to some of the intro material. It's very simple, and you can see how easily you can do this as well.
I have a friend, Vinny. I have a friend, and what he does is Airbnb Arbitrage. So he just leases the property for, let's say Eric was the owner, and Eric would lease me that property on a monthly basis at $2,000 a month. he just does a master lease with that and runs the Airbnb business and crushes it. So there's ways of scaling this without even that much money.
Totally.
But I like owning the real estate. I'm a real estate guy.
Yeah.
So I prefer the ownership, but there's ways of doing this. Also, one of my properties in Indiana, I let somebody run an Airbnb business and they were just paying me a little bit above market rent.
Mm-hmm.
But when I went on to AirDNA and I ran the property, so I was making 17, 18 grand gross from that house a year.
Sure.
If I did Airbnb, I could gross like $46,000.
Oh,
so
triple, almost triple.
So after expenses, I would have probably at least made 15 grand more, right? At least.
Yeah.
So and so I was just worried, oh, how am I going to do it remotely? And there's somebody that just proved that you can do this remotely and set up these systems, which is what's really cool about technology. And so I'm actually excited because I was going through, and now to see Eric actually just implement what we were talking about and just, do it, and it's done, and now it's going to run, and he's going to learn stuff as he goes. He's going to pick up he's going to pick up tools and tricks and apps, and that's what's really exciting. Yeah, I just got this actually in the mail. Somebody sent me this. It's all about like vacation rentals. It's pretty cool. So
VRM in town. Look at that. And again, the vacations are the lifeblood of any kind of economy. I mean, it is. Let's think about it. 10,000 baby boomers are turning 65, right, Beau? So they have money. They have made the money, and they want to travel. They want to do things. COVID just put a little clinker in there, but I mean, it's going to pass. I mean, 2021, 22 and onward, it's going to be very, very, very exciting. I know we used to own 3 homes actually, Eric, and right there, Phoenix, buddy. Yeah. And maybe Scottsdale or nearby, all that. We sold them, single family homes. I wish maybe we would have kept it. But let me ask you a question. How did you determine this demand for Airbnb? So are there some sites that people can go, to find out, okay, this city, if I'm in Chicago, for example, right? Somebody listening to me is in Florida, Orlando. How can they figure it out? What's the best place to buy?
Yeah. So for me personally, like I went to places that I like to visit, and because I've been there a lot, I know they're in high demand. So that's how I choose my locations. But for somebody else that's not quite sure where to go, it's very simple. You want to look up vacation destinations. So you could just go, to the Google machine and type in, top 10 vacation cities in the US and start there. Decide which place you like to visit most, because why not? It's another perk of the property, because all the other numbers are probably going to be exciting enough to where it's gonna work. So just top 10 vacation cities and pick a spot and go from there.
So Vinny, let me give you an example. Vinny has last year I helped Vinny buy a big house in Blackhawk, and he has another house in Danville. And he's just renting that out traditionally. But Vinny, what you can do, you can go to AirDNA, you can put your rental property in Danville in there, and it gives you an estimate of what it would rent for. It gives you a daily night. So that's your kind of your comp, your initial comp to see if it's a viable transaction, right? Like, okay, does it make sense to just keep a long-term tenant, or what if I Airbnb this? Does the HOA allow it, or whatever? And what if you could get $500 a night or $400 a night, and instead of you're getting $3,000?
4,800 or 4,900 now. But it might be 10,000, what you're saying.
Exactly. So there's these tools out there. This is powerful, and that's what I also want to compliment Eric on, as I've known him for many years now. The thing, like what he does really well is he's a researcher, right? He'll research and then he'll implement. He does this with like fitness, especially too, because like you can. I know a good amount about health and stuff and fitness, but Eric is constantly studying this. He does crazy stuff. He has a sauna at his house. Talk a little bit about so Eric is always researching stuff. I kind of want to circle back on something because Eric's a researcher, and Eric, just talk about how Eric paid off his house in like a year, and he found a process where you use an equity line as a first mortgage and you pay your bills through it. So he paid off like a $500,000 mortgage in like a few months. I mean, obviously it was infusing it with more capital. But just talking that, I think this is very interesting. Yeah.
That's a good hack. Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, well, you just got to take action and go for it. And so essentially, I was aware of this concept a long time ago, but I never really looked into it. And then, later in my career, once you got money saved up and, what you can do with your money, I basically read a book and then implemented it, which is kind of what Beau talks about, what I like to do. Yeah. I like to push myself outside of my comfort zone. But essentially what this strategy is you replace your mortgage on your house with a line of credit. So then instead of having all of your assets sitting in your bank account, let's say you have $100,000 sitting in your bank account or wherever it is, you would take that home equity line of credit and you would just let your $100,000 sit in that home equity line of credit. So instead of the loan balance being $500, it's going to sit at $400,000. And the interest that's due on the loan is based on that daily balance. So now every month when I'm making a payment, I'm chunking away at that principal balance a lot quicker. And then you take it to another level. I run all my bills and everything through the house like a checking account. So let's say I have, $30,000 of income come in. Well, instead of it sitting in my bank account and then it's going to go out and pay bills, it's going to sit in the home equity line of credit. So that's sitting at a lower balance. And then now I keep making the same payment and it basically fast forwards. So sorry, we got someone play with the lights over here.
Yeah, I was wondering, is there thunder and lightning coming over there?
I'm making the show exciting.
It's going to be raining soon. No.
So essentially, through the line of credit, because I can pull money out, I can have money go in and out of it just like a checking account. I'm having the average daily balance sit as low as possible. So then when I make a payment, more of my payment is going towards chunking away at the principal balance. And so what that does is it just accelerates the payoff of the loan super, super fast. Wow. So within about a year, I was able to pay off the entire mortgage. Now my house sits free and clear. And like when I went and bought this house, I wrote a check off of it. And then I went and paid it back down. And so I use my house like a checking account. So essentially I borrow less money overall. All that money that I save is just more additional money to be able to lend out there and invest in other things without having to borrow it, which in turn saves me more money. And it just compounds.
Eric, you're coming to my mastermind inner circle, buddy. And
did I just qualify myself?
I know. You got to share this with the masses. I think that's a great hack, I mean, if you could show to people how you could do it, if it's, all good and all, I would love, maybe in a couple of weeks. I think next week I'm a presenter at another show. So I won't be there at my master coaching. But, we should love to.
I think that's an important thing. So I think if you listen to what we've talked about is you got to take whatever you're learning and implement, right? And some stuff you implement doesn't work the way it should. Like sometimes we might implement a new workout program and we're like, this isn't as good as my other workout program. Yeah. But by trial and error, if you got, getting started, because I was like, okay, I want to see you pay our house off in like a year, and boom, it was paid off. Like I was kind of doubting that, right? Like, how does it work? And so obviously these things are out there, right? Like your book, Multifamily Made Easy, right? Like you got to be able to take the knowledge and then just implement. And nothing's perfect science, but if you just take action and implement this stuff, it comes together. And so what's really exciting is Eric's like, I want to get, I want to get $10,000 net passive income, right? He needs 2 more houses and he's easily going to have $10,000 a month passive income. He doesn't, he has a pretty no expenses, low overhead. So now he's able to do what he wants, right? He's able to do what he wants. If he doesn't want to originate loans and make, a good income because he's burnt out, he doesn't necessarily need to do that anymore. And I think that's why. So if you kind of take all these strategies, paying down your house, paying down your debts, getting your first rental property, even if you're not ready to buy a multifamily property, if you can cash flow huge by implementing the right strategy. So I think it's like important because some people that are listing aren't ready to buy a 200 unit building, whatever, right? Or some of them might just need to pull the trigger and invest $100,000 into a syndication or whatever, right? You gotta make little progress steps every month, every day. So then you get one step closer to reaching your goals. Because if you're not doing that, this time next year, you're going to be doing the same thing, right? Like,
totally agree, Beau. It couldn't really, be anything more than that. Also, I wanted to tell the audience, by the way, our third book is coming out. That's the Senior Living Investing Made Easy. It's almost ready to be published. And I'm really, really excited about it because that is the new passion. And most of you who have seen me on Instagram and YouTube and Facebook like that, Vinney is really getting bigger and bigger into the assisted senior living arena for the next 40 years. There is such a huge demand that myself and all my partners, if they start building it or even renovating things, they will still not be able to keep up with the demand because of how many people, 80 years, 85, 90 years, are increasing 6.4 million to 20 million. Hold on. Ooh. That's triple. That's 300% in growth, and that's why we are so excited about building these beautiful communities all over USA. Right here in the Bay Area, we are coming. Arizona, we are going. Texas, Florida, Virginia. I mean, Michigan, we have already saturated with 17 of them over there, or 18 or 20 of them. Anyway, so just wanted to kind of pull that plug, another plug there. Because we don't have any sponsors, guys. I mean, Beau and I pay for the show and everything, but we want to bring great knowledge to you all, without really any fluff. So that's the thing.
Yeah, I love this episode today, Eric, and I'm glad you came on. And I think it's good just talking about other avenues that some people are always wondering about. Like, oh, well, wouldn't it be cool to like, I don't own any real estate right now. I've got some money in the bank. I want to make an investment, but I don't know what. And I live in the Bay Area, and I really like traveling to Henderson, Nevada, or Scottsdale, Arizona, or Orlando, Florida. Wouldn't it be nice to own a vacation rental that can pay me 50, 40, 50, 60 grand net a year, and I can use it whenever I want?
Totally.
That's a win-win in my book.
It really is. It really is.
So let me tell you a fun fact, Vinney.
Yeah.
And before, you didn't know that Eric used to be a professional fighter, but he actually fought at the Playboy Mansion and met Hugh Hefner. God rest his soul.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh. I've seen some pictures. I've not been there. Tell us more, man. What happened? How did you get there?
Yeah, I was. I used to fight for a fight promotion called Strikeforce before the UFC bought him out, and I was working full time, mortgage broker by day, cage fighter by night. So I've always been a professional real estate person. So I'll just make that clear. But yeah, the opportunity came up there, and I got paid to basically go fight some guy in Hugh Hefner's backyard on NBC TV with all the Playboy bunny girls right there. And thank God I won. And it was quite the experience. And if anybody's curious, if you just go on YouTube and you type in Eric Lawson, Playboy Mansion, the fight pops right up.
Hey, I'm doing it, man.
And I was really into martial arts. I still am. And I always just, I never got into fighting, but it's all in the mind, right? So Eric was able to, and actually you got to kind of look at that from a business perspective, right?
Yeah.
If you're able to go and keep yourself composed, right? And you're about to go full force, punching, kicking, choking. These guys are skilled. Eric was a collegiate wrestler too, but you have to have the right mindset to do those things. And I'm relating this specifically to real estate too, because it's the same thing. People are going to be punching and kicking at you in real estate, but you got to keep your composure, right? Because it's never easy. I mean, sometimes we do a deal and it's easy, but there's always, struggles and stuff. And so it's all mindset. Sometimes you got a property that gets some vacancies and you got to fix some, and you're having trouble with the contractors and things like that. It's the same thing, right? So it all really comes down to mindset. Because when Eric was talking to me about buying some properties and stuff, he was never really committed to it, right? And so then, he kind of got his fighter mindset back on. He quickly made a decision to do it. And once he did that, it was easy for him, right? See how it all works. And that's what's impressive. I look at that he had the skills already in his mind. Something was holding him back. And when he made his decision, it was why didn't I do this 5 years ago?
Yeah.
He would have had 8 of them now, making him 300 grand a year, right? And so those little tweaks, and that's why I always say, really, guys, it all starts here, And I always tell myself that too, because I have days where I'm like, oh God, it's life but it's right here. That's where you start.
So right about that, Beau. This is the best ending of the show. Again, guys, please do. Thank you, Eric. Thank you, brother. Really enjoyed it. Let's chat about, if there is another Airbnb coming, love to, talk to you both. But let's, again, guys, please go ahead and like our show, comment, share, and, let's tell us also what other, different speakers you might know of, some really, really super, speaker that you may like us to bring us on our show. So thank you. Go ahead, bud. Yes.
John, we're going to get John on.
Totally. Yeah, John is going to be on it next week. Totally. You want to know, guys, if you are thinking about buying apartment complex, like I've been buying, my first one is 14 units for 180,000. And now John just buy like 1.3 million or something, 20 units within 1 year. A lot of people are buying within 2 weeks. 2 months, not 2 weeks, 2 months of, joining my academy and things like that. So it's really wonderful that if you want to learn more how to invest passively, how to learn how to buy commercial real estate or Airbnb, right over here, right there with Eric and with Beau. And if you want to get the best interest rates and the two professionals who can really give you great loans, residential, my buddy right over there. I have to do it this way, Eric, and then for the commercial loan, my buddy Beau right there. So, let's have fun. Bless you, and we'll see you next week, Friday. All right. Vinney and Beau Show. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Investor Financing Podcast. For show notes and useful resources, please visit investorfinancingpodcast.com. For questions or comments, email info@investorfinancingpodcast.com. If you enjoy our show, please share it with your network. Until next time.